Morning, this is Bob Mason from FX Empire and welcome to the daily crypto tech review of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin and Ripple's XRP, looking at the MACDs, the moving averages and the day's support, resistance and pivot levels. It is Tuesday, the 19th of January. Jumping straight into Bitcoin against the US dollar, looking at the hourly candlesticks. Choppy start to the morning here. Going to need to see Bitcoin avoid a fall through the pivot at 36,365. Take a run at the first major resistance level, sitting at 37,889. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Bitcoin to break out from yesterday's high at 37,555, however. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and resistance at 38,000 to limit any upside. In the event of an extended rally, could see Bitcoin test resistance at 40,000 before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 39,078. A fall through the pivot level will bring the first major support level sitting at 35,176 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Bitcoin should stay clear of the second major support level sitting at 33,652 and the 23.6% fib at 33,008. Looking at the MACD, we've got a slight widening of the bullish histogram after yesterday's late bullish cross, supporting a slight upside through the morning. On the EMA, we're also seeing the 50 narrow in on the 100 and the 200, suggestive of further upside through the morning. Could see a possible bullish cross there, so keep an eye on that through the early part of the day. So key through the early part of the day, avoid the pivot at 36,365, break back through 37,500 levels to bring resistance levels into play. Failure to do that, and support levels are in play. Across to Ethereum against the US dollar, bearish start to the morning. Going to need to Ethereum avoid the pivot at 1234 to take a run at the first major resistance level, sitting at 1286. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Ethereum to break out from this morning's high 1274.3 and through to 1280 levels. So barring extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level to cap any upside. In the event of an extended rally, could see Ethereum test resistance at 1350 before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 1313. A fall through the pivot will bring the first major support level sitting at 1207 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Ethereum should steer well clear of sub 1100 levels. Second major support level at 1155 should limit any downside. Looking at the MACDs, we've got a widening of the bullish histogram after yesterday's bullish cross, supporting some upside for the morning. On the EMA, we're seeing the 50 move away marginally from the 100 and the 200, also suggestive of further upside through the day. So keep through the early part of the morning, avoid the pivot at 1234 and break through the early high 1274.3 to bring resistance levels into play. Failure to do that and support levels are in play. Moving across to Litecoin against the US dollar, bearish start this morning. Going to need to see Litecoin avoid a fall through the pivot at 1438 and through the 23.6% fib at 148 to support a run at the first major resistance level, sitting at 158.5. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Litecoin to break out from yesterday's high 155, however. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and resistance at 160 to cap any upside. In the event of an extended rally, should see Litecoin test resistance at 170 before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 165.11. A fall through the pivot and the 23.6% fib would bring the first major support level at 141.77 into play. Barring a crypto meltdown, Litecoin should stay clear of the second major support level, so 131.65. Looking at the MACD, we've got a slight narrowing of the bullish histogram, but nothing suggestive of a bearish morning ahead, so need to keep an eye on that. On the EMA, we saw the 50 cross through the 100 and it's narrowed on the 200, supporting some upside through the morning. So keep through the early part of the day, avoid the pivot and the 23.6% fib and break back through to 155 levels to bring resistance levels into play. Failure to do that, support levels are in play. Finally, looking at Ripple's XRP against the US dollar, also bearish this morning. Going to need to see Ripple's XRP avoid the pivot at 0.2818 to take a run at the first major resistance level, saying at 0.2921. Going to need to see support from the broader market to break out from yesterday's high, that was at 28852, and break through to 0.29 levels. So barring extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level to cap any upside. In the event of an extended rally, Ripple's XRP should test resistance at 0.30 before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 0.2988. A fall through the pivot We'll bring the first major support level sitting at 0.2751 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Ripple's XRP should avoid sub 0.27 levels. Second major support level sits at 0.2649. Looking at the MACD, nothing conclusive there after yesterday's late bullish cross, so need to keep an eye on that. On the EMAs, however, the 50 has narrowed on the 200 and the 100, suggestive of some further upside through the morning. So key through the early part of the day, avoid the pivot at 0.2818 and break out from yesterday's high that was at 0.28852 to bring resistance levels into play. Failure to do that, support levels will be in play.